Well, welcome to a new episode of the BrandonJaneauShow. As you know, I am Brandon Janeau, and like always, on all podcast platforms everywhere, BrandonJaneauShow. Instagram and Threads is Brandon Janeau, just together, Brandon Janeau. Had to drop the show on there for various reasons, but TikTok um, is still Brandon Janeau Show, and Facebook it is the Brandon Janeau Show. So go. So it's my social medias. If you follow, thank you. On those accounts, so thank you. And of course, my YouTube channel, Brandon Janeau Show, man. I got a comment today that was really cool, man. From someone. I don't know if they follow me or not, but they were just like, you know, basically what he was saying in the comment was, uh, you know, he liked my content. He liked what I was doing. He really appreciated my content. He says like my content. So I was just like, man, that's love, man. That's crazy, man. So YouTube channel, Brand New Show, man. Like I said, I had to hit him up, and I was like, man, thank you. I appreciate that. Really appreciate that. And hopefully, keep supporting me, man. Um, but yeah, man. Brand New Show is the YouTube channel. Go subscribe, comment. I do comment back clearly, and like some of the vids, man. Like the vids, like the clips. Um, got a new episode dropping tonight. It dropped today. I wasn't trying to drop it today, so sorry to people that probably was watching it. And then I kind of had to go back and redo it. But I got a new episode coming out. Bleed Purple and Gold. My first episode for LSU. The second season is here. Talked about it after the game Sunday. I didn't want to. Uh, so yeah. But since we talking about some sports, you already know it's Tuesday, so you already know it's I bleed sports. So much shit going on in sports. It's not even funny. You got the baseball pennant race officially hitting its peak now. It is in September. You got the Baltimore Orioles and New York Yankees battling to see who's going to get that AL East division. Of course, you have the AL wild card. The AL West is. I can't believe the freaking Astros, from where they started to now where they at, is just ridiculous. I can't believe that they are literally leading the freaking AL West. But it's the AL West. I mean, the AL West is not that fucking great. It's really not. You got the Kansas City Royals who can actually make the playoffs this year, which is something I never thought in a long time that the Kansas City Royals would get back to a playoff standpoint. But they look like they're gonna get there, man. They're right now in the wild card conversation as well. So many things. The NL is just Dodgers. Dodgers a bust. And if the Dodgers do not win, man, if the Dodgers do not win, uh, the World Series this year, can we officially put the Dodgers to bed? Like, can we officially put them and the Yankees? And the Yankees, can we officially put them to bed? I get it that we want to always give those teams the praise and the high and the highs and all that bullshit, but come on, man, come on, man. So yeah, but yeah, um, not stuff going on, man. Of course, football is here. College, NFL. NFL first week starts Thursday, which is crazy. It starts Thursday, goes into Friday with and I'll talk about. I will be bringing back my big four, my levels of warning for this upcoming week. I will be talking, of course, about the week one in college football week, and of course, going to my eyes on college football for week two. Um, Skeptical game of the week, my most interesting game of the week, my upset game of the week, and my game of the week. So I'll be talking about that, but let's get into it, man. So let's start with this. I haven't talked about this in a while because I just didn't want to talk about it anymore. Um, what I see the discourse again on social media about uh Caitlin Clark and Andrew Reese again, and it. Listen, Caitlin Clark has won the Rookie of the Year. New information breeds new, um, you know, new information breeds new uh comments. You know what I'm saying? New statements. Um, Kevin Clark's got it. She's got this. She won. Rookie of the Year. Anybody that tells you that she hasn't, you're just delusional. She's got this shit. The Indiana Fever is playing their best basketball they've played all fucking season. They are actually winning a lot of games. It's the schedule they're also in. Their schedule is literally geared towards them winning right now. It's an easier schedule for them now. They're playing way the less teams in their recent this time around of the schedule after after the Olympics. They're playing an easier schedule, so of course they are now taking advantage of that. They also had time off, which is something that why they kind of struggled early in the season to get that chemistry right. But they are winning, man. Caitlin Clark is gonna win the Rookie of the Year. That's kind of freaking obvious. Like anybody still sitting up there trying to say, nah, she's got this. She's a dub. Where I get the problem is with Angel Reese. Angel Reese. Angel Reese is not bad, and I hate that people have this narrative that like she's bad. It makes me realize that y'all never really watched her in college. Y'all never watched her play in college. People that sitting there and saying, oh, all she does is rebound and putbacks. That's all she does. That's all she do. Yeah, that's her game. Her game is defense and rebounding and putbacks. Did you not watch her in college? That's why I said for a long time, I literally said Chicago has to build a team around her if they're going to at least keep her. They have to build a team around her. They have to build shooters and perimeter defenders. That's all Chicago has to do. And she'll take care of the rest. Her and Camila Cadosa, those two together are rebounding and defensive players. That's what they've always been. Anybody that didn't watch them in college, and now you're watching them now and be like, oh my god, I thought they would be better this and better that, and this. You're just fucking delusional. Like you didn't watch them in college at all. And that's my thing. It's like I get that injuries is but to sit there instead of you shitting on her game, the fact that she the fact that she became on the same level of success and was talked about as the same as Kevin Clark, even in midway through this season at some point, the fact that she was even in a competitive battle with Caitlin Clark to be the rookie of the year, and you can sit there and say, no, she wasn't. Yes, she was. When she went on that 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 streak of rebounds and points, double doubles, like what I think she had like what 20 double doubles consecutively or some shit. When she went on that streak, it was like whoa, and she just broke the rookie record for the most rebounds in a season. So when I hear people try to sit there and try to discredit this girl is ridiculous. I mean, that tells me right there and there, you never watched her in college. You this now. Oh my God, this is all she does. Yeah, but that all she does shit actually won her a national championship. The fuck are we talking about? Against Caitlin Clark. She beat Caitlin Clark. So it's not like so we're not hearing people sit there and say that. But that's why I've said the Chicago Sky has the best potential, but also they gotta build that team around her. They can't just have her go out there and not have a team around her. And say that with Camila Cadosa. Like those are if you're gonna if this is the team that you're gonna have, and it's gonna be Camila Cadosa and it's gonna be Angie Reese be your two players. Um, then you need shooters and wing defenders. You can't have either or. You cannot have this season. That's why Chelsea Carter works for the Sky. She's a defender, but she's also a scorer. That works for them. You need that, but you need shooters, and that's why I said Chicago Sky this season was going to probably have a problem because they can't really. They got to fill out that team with scorers, the shooters, 3-point shooters, because Camila Cadosa and Angel Reese could take care of the point. Who the fuck pushing them two out the paint? Who the fuck pushing them two out the paint? Come on now. And that's the thing. And if you got perimeter scorers, perimeter shooters, you got perimeter scorers, perimeter shooters on the court with you, that spreads the court out. That's why Indiana is good right now. That's why Indiana is good right now. Is because they have a Leah Boston who plays in the paint, who can rebound, who can defend, who can do all these things that you need her to do. But then you have a Kelsey Milchu, a Kelsey Milchu who is in the backcourt with Caitlin Clark, who can score, and do all the things that she can also do. But then you have Caitlin Clark doing what she needs to do. That's a good team. That's what's supposed to fucking happen. That's why I was like, when I heard, Chicago Sky, I'm like, that's why I kind of also felt like Chicago Sky should have gotten another scorer. Like, you drafted Camila Cardoso first, and then you went and doubled down and got Aja Reese. It just didn't make any sense. I didn't understand that pick. Um, but since you have put yourself in this position, and WNBA is not a league where they hold on to stars too long. You can move around. They'll trade you in a minute. So I don't know. This first season is just a test of what this team can be. But Caitlin Clark won the fucking rookie of the year. Are you kidding me? Like, this is done. It's fucking finished. We can put that shit in the box. Now, well, for people that's also sitting up there and saying, now, if the Indiana Fever gets in the playoffs, they're not winning a championship. They're not winning a championship. They would have to either play the Aces or the Liberty or the Lynx. And I know people are gonna sit there and say, "Well, Brandon, they just beat the Lynx. They beat." You're not getting it. You're not listening. It's not rolling in your cerebellum. Indiana's not beating the fucking Lynx in the playoffs. They're not beating the Storm in the playoffs. They're not beating the Aces or the Liberty in the playoffs. Caitlin Clark is good, but we have seen already this season she can't handle physical. That shit ain't good for her. She can't. And you think what they did to her in the beginning of the season was fucking bad? That's gonna look like Christmas by the time they get in the playoffs. They gonna fuck her up. And I'm not wishing it, but now we playing for something. Now we want this. Now we going for a title. Fuck your feelings. Fuck your feelings. Like, it's gonna be bad for her, man. But if Indiana gets in the playoffs, oh, depending on who you play, you could get a game. You could get out the first round. I think depending on who you end up playing, it's only 8 teams that get to the playoffs in WNBA. It's only 8 teams that get there. They just got over 500. Like, so you're probably what that. I mean, what maybe the 8 seed, no, maybe 6, 7. But again, you're playing against top tier teams. So you might be the 7th seed, but you're playing against the Aces of the Sun. And we already know the Sun give the Fever a fucking problem. So you're playing against the Sun or the Aces the first round. Like, bro, you're not getting out of that shit. Let's be realistic. You're not getting out of that shit. Like, you might be good, but you're not ready to handle that type of pressure. The playoff pressure, that's a little different. We all know for sports. If you watch sports for real, we all know preseason is different than regular season. Regular season is completely fucking different than postseason. It's different. So yeah, man. Yeah. But don't get it twisted. The Fever is doing an amazing job. The Fever are having a hell of a season. It's just the discourse that people are having on social media. Listen, I'm one of those people. I've always been one of those people that have always said. I've always been one of those people that have always said. Um, I've always been one of those people that have always said. I don't I don't care uh if you have a different feel, or if you don't agree with everything people say. I don't care if you don't. But my problem with people nowadays is that you disrespect people to make your point. That's where the problem lies. You know what I'm saying? And I grew up, maybe just me again, because I grew up in a time that I grew up in. But man, we used to have at least discourse, and if we disagreed with one another, then it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But we didn't take it personal. Nowadays, there's a lot of personal, and you don't have to build. You could love Caitlin Clark. You could love her. I mean, that's always been a thing. You could love Caitlin Clark. It's when you disrespect Aja Reese, and then you sit there and try to like say, "Oh, where was it?" That's what the fuck I got a problem with. Love Kane Clark. Nobody said you shouldn't love Kane Clark, but it's where you disrespect Aja Reese and act like she's not good at this. It's like, how the fuck she made it to the pros, bro? How she made it to the pros, bro? If she's not good, come on, bro. Like, it's this shit is bad, man. This shit is bad. But that's just how I felt about that, man. That's how I felt about that, man. Um, like I said earlier, the Yankees and the Orioles are battling right now for the AL East. Winner gets the division. The team that loses pretty much is just the first wild card, pretty much. Excuse me. Um, the fact the Yankees are in a race with the Orioles for the AL East warms my heart because it's just like this is what we've been saying, man. This is what I've been saying. The Yankees got all those heavy hitters on that team, but when they get into those types of games where they have now to actually get people on base, that's where the problem kicks in for them. I mean, and it's the playoffs. That's what the playoffs are gonna really bring to them. And I think Baltimore is a really good team, man. They got a lot of youth on that side. I mean, Jackson Holiday, Grandison, Gunson, Gunderson. Um, yeah, I think that that team is really, really good. Um, Baltimore has a chance to really do damage in the playoffs. I don't know if they get into the World Series. I'm not gonna go that far. I ain't going that far. I do believe, and this is where the do believe part comes in. I think they get to the LCS. I think the Orioles versus the Astros will be a dope ass World Series. I think it will be the World Series, actually, to be honest with you. So, I mean, not the World Series, the ALCS. I think that will be the ALCS. I think the Orioles versus the Astros will be the ALCS. That's just my ALCS. Now, when it comes to NLCS, people will say the Dodgers. I just don't see the Dodgers making it. I'm sorry. I know they got Shohei and they finally got Mookie Betts back, and the Dodgers have had so many collections of players and talent that I don't think the Dodgers are actually going to be good again. Like they listen, man. They did all that work, all the people they moved, all the pieces off like all the people they brought in, and I just don't think the Dodgers are making the World Series because I've seen it too many times where the Dodgers brought in all these people, and the only time the Dodgers have actually made it to the World Series and won the World Series in recent years was 2020. You know who also won in 2020? The Lakers. How the fuck are they looking now? The fuck? Like, come on, man. No, 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 no. Also, another thing. Shohei Ohtani is the best baseball player in the fucking league. Are you fucking kidding me? I don't give a fuck how many home runs Aaron Judge hits. He ain't Shohei. Shohei can pitch. He can hit. Next year, when he can actually pitch for the Dodgers, is going to be disturbing to watch. The fact that the man can hit and pitch and be an outfielder. You gotta realize he doing all this shit and he ain't even pitched yet for the Dodgers. This man's got a 50-50 season on the line. Come on, bro. Like it's this shit ain't even close. Like this shit. Man, come on, man. Come on, man. No, no, no. Shohei Ohtani is the best baseball player in the league. Anybody that's sitting up there trying to tell you it's still Aaron Judge, you don't watch. You clearly don't watch. Fuck out of here. All right. Now, what y'all really been waiting for? Um, week one of college football has commenced after last night. Let me go ahead and get this out the way. I remember last year I did a lot of episodes, my crazy six, and I will be bringing that back week after week four. It's enough time to have some games, maybe some conference games. I will be bringing that back for week after week four. So crazy six is coming back. My crazy six is coming back for college football. So I watch this game. I watched week one. A couple games, but the one thing that people, of course, will automatically talk about is particularly the three losses that happened. LSU, Clemson, and Florida State last night. Last week, like now, this brings me back to what I was just saying. Crazy Six. I had a lot of people in my comments talk about last year when I used to post these things. I said Florida State is not good. Florida State does not deserve to be in the college playoffs. Florida State has not. Florida State, ever since Jordan Travis got injured, Florida State looked absolutely fucking terrible. And I had to hear people sit there and tell me, "Oh, you don't know nothing." Oh yeah, and then they went out there, played Georgia, and got spanked by 60. Okay, I give you that. Hey, your players didn't play. They didn't really see any point of playing in the game. Understandable. Okay. During the whole off season, we had to hear y'all complain again and say, "Hey, if we were in the playoffs last year with healthy players and everybody was ready, we would win." And okay, you go to another country, Ireland, week zero, week zero, and you go to Ireland and you lose to Georgia Tech on a last second kick, but you lose to Georgia Tech. I will give you that excuse. That's the second excuse. I'll give you that. Well, it was in a whole nother country. We might have been jet lagged. You know, uh, I gave you it. I give you it. Last night, you played Boston College. Bill O'Brien's first game as a head coach at Boston College. He's been a college coach before, but this is the first time he's a head coach at Boston College. You play Boston College at home, mind you, after having a couple days off from that trip, and you score less points at home than you did in another country. What? See, here's the difference, and here's the problem with people. Florida State, it's one thing to lose. Here's the thing. LSU lost to USC. Clemson lost to Georgia. Florida lost to Miami. You know, James said that. Texas A&M lost to Notre Dame. You know, but those aren't conference games you're losing. You're losing conference games to teams, for lack of a better word, ain't winning the ACC, to be honest. Maybe Georgia Tech, maybe Boston College, but shit gotta go extremely fucking right for them. Boston College wasn't great last night. They were just better than Florida State. They weren't great last night. They were just better than them. And that's the thing. I'm just watching. I'm watching. If Florida State is now 0-2 to start the season, it's one thing to start the season 0-2. It's a whole nother thing to start the season 0-2 in conference play. You have lost twice to conference You're not winning the conference. Fuck the 12-team playoff. Even if you could run a table, you still have to play Notre Dame. You still have to play Clemson. This is what I was saying last week about Florida State. I said I don't know if Florida State could run the table. And after last night, I really don't know now. After last night, fuck the I don't know. I know you can't run the table. If you lose to Memphis this weekend, now you just lost to a non-conference team. What's the excuse? When you play Notre Dame at some point this season, and if you lose to them, you just lost to a team that ain't really isn't really even in your conference. What's the excuse? Still got Miami. Still got Clemson. I, I don't see this. And Mike Norvell, your job is on the line, bro. You haven't had a great record as a head coach at Florida State. Don't get last year fucking fooled. The man's record since taking over the job at Florida State was what? In the pandemic, he was 5-7. The year, and after that, he was what, 7-5. Last year was a complete and utter anomaly. The man is lucky that he's still the head coach of this team. Speaking of lucky, Dabo Sweetie. My problem with people that with this Clemson shit is that he doesn't want to use the transfer portal. He doesn't want to use the transfer portal. Even if he gets players from the transfer portal, you still have to coach them, which means you are still responsible for how your team plays and reacts to games. That ain't got shit to do with the talent on the field. You got talent on that field. Clemson is still what, top 15, top 20 teams that have recruiting classes? And that's without the transfer portal. They're one of the top teams in the ACC when it comes to recruits. It might be what, Miami and Florida State might be, maybe Florida State. That might be the only team that might be maybe a little bit over them. I don't know if Miami is, but they're still top three in ACC of recruiting. The fuck are you talking about? What are we talking about here? What are we talking about here? What are we talking about here? Clemson, it's on Dabo Sweeney. The reason why that team is struggling right now is Dabo Sweeney. It's not because they don't recruit. They don't use the transfer portal. It's bullshit. That's utter bullshit. Because I've seen teams that use the transfer portal and they still can't fucking win. The fuck are we talking about? The, the fuck are we talking about? No, man. No. Coaching matters. And y'all are eliminating the coaching aspect of it because you want to act like, oh, because Clemson, because Dabo isn't using the transport portal. At some point, you still got to fucking coach. That's on you. That's on you. This is now what? How long the transfer portal been going on? For what? 2, 3 years? Some shit like that? Since what, 2020? 2021? Something like that? Uh, Come on now. Like, come on, man. No. I'm not about to let y'all have that. No, 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 no. I'm not about to let y'all have that. And Brian Kelly. I said this on Lead Purple and Gold. At some point, at some fucking point, people got to call into question how the fuck you don't get your team prepared for every week 1 game. Florida State is one thing. You lost Florida State 2 straight years. Once in New Orleans, and last year was a fucking abomination on the football field. That shit was terrible. I saw you today going for your players. Great. Awesome. He's a player's coach. And that's why I'm not mad at him. Because even with, that's why when you hear the episode tonight, when it comes out, you're going to hear me talk about it. And I'm going to say, like, yo, we're going to probably be all right at the end of the year. I'm not going to be surprised if we somehow, some way end up 8-2 or some shit. Not like 11, 12-2 or some shit. I wouldn't be surprised if we run a table the rest of the fucking season. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I haven't seen the schedule since I've done it, but I know we got UCLA and we got Oklahoma at the end of the year, and Vanderbilt who beat Virginia Tech this year was fucking crazy. We got certain games, but like I said, I don't question us at the beginning. The beginning of the season is always the question. First game of the year, because by the time we get to the games that we start to figure out who we are, that's the thing. So it is what it is, man. It is what it is with that. But week one was crazy. Um, like I said, I'll be bringing up my crazy six. Week four. After week four, um, let's get into it, man. So my eyes on college football. Week two. My skeptical game of the week, my most interesting game of the week, my upset game of the week, and of course the game of the week. My skeptical game of the week this week is Iowa State versus Iowa. Iowa won 40-0 their first game of the year this past Saturday. The reason why this is my skeptical game of the week, Iowa's ranked. And Iowa's offense is still the fucking same. It's weird. It's got 40 points, but the defense of Iowa's always been good. The defense of Iowa's always been fucking good. I've never questioned that. But Iowa State has this innate ability to beat teams like this. They have a good defense. They have always had a really good defense. They always got a really good running game. And a quarterback is enough to get you over the hump. And this feels like a game. It's an in-state game. Of course, it's Iowa versus Iowa State. It's an in-state game. It means a little bit more. I don't know if Iowa loses this game, but it's damn sure a skeptical game because I don't know if Iowa could really beat Iowa State. And that's just me. I don't know if Iowa could really beat Iowa State. Especially if they play that offense the way they play that offense. Like if they, I know people gonna say that, well, Brandon, they scored 40 points. Yeah, for Iowa, that's great. But for like college football, it's like score 40 points. I guess, motherfucker, I guess. Um, but yeah, most interesting game of the week to me is Boise State versus Oregon. Oregon, boy, did they struggle against Idaho. I get it. It's the first game of the season. I get it. Shit kind of gets a little weird. But for one of the best offenses last year to score 24 points against Idaho, I'm going to be honest. It's kind of like the Florida State situation. Is the quarterback the problem? Because if that's the case, Daniel Gabriel, who was quarterback for Oklahoma last year, Oklahoma wasn't great last year, particularly. Is he the problem? Boise State running back, I don't know his name, but he ran for like what 6 touchdowns, 200 something yards. This past week, I don't think Oregon loses. I don't think Oregon loses, but it's one of those games where it's going to tell us more about who Oregon is, especially now again being at home versus a Boise State team that isn't particularly great. They have really one good weapon, and they can do enough with that. Um, but we're gonna see if Oregon's offense, if that was just a, it was just a week one, collapse. It was just a week one thing. Things happened and just they just couldn't find a rhythm, or if this is actually a real fucking thing that we might need to take a picture, like take a real understanding of, because Oregon is now in the Big Ten. This isn't just a regular old, you know, thing. Like you're in the Big Ten now. You know what I'm saying? Like this is way more than just you're in the Pac-12 where you could kind of just play Washington and maybe then, and you play Washington, you beat Washington, and you go to the Big Ten champions, the Pac-12 championship game. This isn't the same. This is the Big Ten, and you having games like this against Idaho. And if you have another game like that against Boise State, I'm sorry. Like, I don't give a shit how bad Michigan probably could be this season, or how questionable how Ohio State has been for the last couple of years. Oregon's not going to be a good team to me in the Big Ten. And I know it's one game, like I said, it's one fucking game, but one game is one game. Two games, that's a fucking pattern coming. That's a developing pattern. So we shall see if Oregon um, can show up in this game against Boise State. If not, then it's we might start having the same question that we're having about Florida State, which is, was it just the players you had last year? That's why you were good. My upset game of the week. There's a couple games I could have went with. A couple situations I could have easily went with. I mean, after what happened last night, Boston College beating, Florida State. I could have went with Boston College versus USC. USC coming off of a massive win over LSU. Maybe they start to feel themselves a little bit too much, and then they play against a team like Boston College. They don't take too serious. They got so hyped up for week one, and then they play at Boston College, and then they just shit the bed. Could have went with that. Um, it's a couple of games. I liked Baylor and Utah. Thought that was a really good game. It's a good spot for Baylor to kind of catch Utah off guard. Maybe that can catch them off guard. Utah's not in the Big 12, so is Baylor's of course in the Big 12. That's their first real test in the Big 12. Utah's. So that's a really interesting one. Um, I think I saw Kansas State and Tulane. Tulane's a very interesting team. It's always been a very interesting team. Um, they could probably catch Kansas State off guard. I think they play in Tulane. Last year they played Ole Miss and they gave them an early game, early scare early, and then they kind of like, but Ole Miss kind of got it going late and won that game. But Tulane's another one. Um, um, it's not really an upset, but Nebraska beating Colorado would be an interesting game for me to. That's another interesting game. Is Nebraska versus Colorado. After watching Colorado last week, they haven't fixed shit. Their offensive line still sucks. That defense still is questionable at best, and that's just being nice. Colorado didn't fix shit this offseason. They didn't fix shit. I mean, and it's kind of crazy to sit there and say that, but if that freshman goes off, that defense cannot stop a fucking nosebleed. That's a problem. Like that defense of Colorado is terrible. And we're gonna see it on full display. The reason why Nebraska lost to Colorado last year, to be real with you, is because that offense just kept fucking up. They kept giving the ball away to Colorado. Um, but they're gonna be, I think, in Nebraska this year, playing Nebraska in Nebraska. I think the freshman goes off and beats that ass. I'm sorry, Colorado. I love Colorado. I love Dion, Coach Prime, Shador, Travis Hunter is that fucking dude. But Colorado as a team, those individuals as a team, they still aren't good. They're still not good, and that's the thing about it. I watched that game last week, and I'm just like, there's no way in hell. And I get North Dakota State is not a bad fucking team. I mean, they literally have won most of the FCS, titles. I mean, they won like what, eight of them bitches. But North Dakota State is not. They shouldn't be competing with Colorado. Like that shit shouldn't have been a competitive fucking game. The fact that it was the way it was, it still made me realize like, damn, Colorado's defense still sucks. The offensive line still isn't good, and they didn't fix shit. And that's the thing about it. So, yeah. But my upset game of the week is Arkansas versus Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State is, I didn't see the polls today, but at the time they were 17, ranked 17th. I don't know where they are nowadays because of course the losses that happened this week. Florida State and of course LSU and Clemson. But so they were ranked. All of them were ranked higher than them. So they might be in a top 15, top close to top 12, top 10 level. But Oklahoma State. versus Arkansas. Arkansas has a really good offense, a really good fucking offense. Defensively, but that offense is really good. I like Oliver Gordon the third, the running back for uh, Oklahoma State. Um, this is an interesting game because of how this game is going to be pretty much seen. Um, I think Arkansas is a really good team. Don't get it twisted. And Oklahoma State is ranked for a good reason. But this is the game where, this is one of those games where Arkansas needs to establish who they are. Same thing with Oklahoma State. Both of these teams have very interesting situations where they both need to establish um, what this season is going to be and what it's going to feel like for them. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this is gonna look. Saturday, I can't wait for this. Of course, the game of the week is of course Texas versus Michigan. Um, Defending champs, Michigan playing Texas. Texas looked good against Colorado State. Michigan beat on Fresno State, I think. This is the game where we're gonna see if Michigan is. This is the first real test without John Harbaugh or Jim Harbaugh. This is the first real test without Harbaugh. Um, at home playing Texas. And same thing with Texas. Texas, listen, man, you lose this game, yeah, you still got the SEC to fall back on. But this is a game for Texas too. Texas played Alabama the last 2 years, have really great games against Alabama the last 2 years. This is the game to me. It's so early that nobody's really going to talk about it. Of course, it's the 12-team playoff now, so you don't. But this might be the game that really determines who's the number one seed at the end of the year. Because let's say Michigan runs the table in the Big Ten, let's say Texas runs the table in the SEC, but Michigan beat Texas or Texas beat Michigan. That sticks out. That sticks out. It does. It sticks out. So um yeah, that's gonna be an interesting game. I can't wait to see how this is gonna play out. So of course the NFL is around the corner as well. Like I said, Thursday um is the start of the NFL season. Friday we got Philly, Green Bay, and Brazil. Um, what else? Of course, Sunday and Monday will be the regular scheduled programming of the NFL. So I'll get into it, man. My big four of week one. Um, I did this last year. I do it again this year, man. My big four of week one coming into this week. Obviously, number one is the Kansas City Chiefs with a bullet. They are the number one team. They are the Super Bowl champs. They're the defending Super Bowl champs. If I didn't put them at number one, then there'd be a problem. Um, they of course start off the season, raise the banner against Baltimore Thursday night. We shall see how they look in that Thursday night game. Last year when they played, I had so much confidence in Detroit that they were gonna beat them, and I wasn't wrong at all. So um, I don't know what this game is gonna bring. I really don't know. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I cannot tell you who's gonna win this game. I don't know. My mind is saying Kansas City. My heart is saying Baltimore. I don't know who's going to actually win this game. I don't know. All I know is that it's going to be a really good fucking game. It's going to be a really good fucking game. So, um, yeah, I don't know who's going to win it, but I do know this that one of these two teams is going to set their season off on a really good path. So yeah, number two is the Detroit Lions. I have so much love for Detroit. I think Detroit is the best team in the NFC. Um, Detroit usually struggles in week one games outside of last year, but because I think they have so much, you know, predicated on this season, particularly, particularly who they're playing in week one. It's a rematch of the NFC wild card game, them versus Detroit. I mean, them versus the Rams. Matthew Stafford's coming in. I think that this game is going to be a very interesting game, and it's going to be a telltale game for Detroit. Um, if they can start off their season, if they can start their season next week, this season with another dub. If they start off this season again with another win, and it isn't against Kansas City, it's against literally, a conference opponent. That's a little different. That's a little different. So, yeah, man, I think Detroit versus the Rams gonna be a hell of a game. I got Detroit clearly, but but yeah, number three, my third team coming into this first week is the Houston Texans. I think Houston defensively, offensively are going to unleash hell and brimstone, hell and fire, will rain upon thee, this season. Um, I'm a little afraid for their first opponent, which is the Colts in Indianapolis. Colts beat them last year, when they had Anthony Richardson last year, week one. This is a completely different situation, completely different teams. We didn't know what CJ Stroud was. We didn't really know what Anthony Richardson was. Houston got a way better defense, this year than they did last year. Way more weapons than they did last year. Uh, can't wait to see what Joe Mixon's gonna look like in Houston. Stephon Diggs. I mean, this is different. This is different. This isn't the Houston you would assume. Like, this is different. So, fuck Houston. I'll be honest, man. Houston could be one of the first. There's this thing about undefeated. I think Houston can literally go undefeated for like the first 6, 8 weeks. I'm not joking. I know you think I'm playing. I know I live in Houston, but I'm looking at the team. I'm looking at the talent. I'm like, yo, if they get through the first game, 2 games against teams that kind of you don't really know, the Colts and the Bears, you really don't know what they are. If you get through those first 2 games, now it's just like boom, 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 boom. You can get through these games. Boom, boom, boom. They will. That's my thing. I think Houston will be the last undefeated team in the NFL. I think they will be the last team to get beat in the NFL this year. That's how much confidence I have in Houston. And number four is the Philadelphia Eagles. Um, like I said, Philadelphia starts their season Friday in Brazil against the Green Bay Packers. So, um, man, the thing about Philly, what's crazy? I completely forgot Kellen Moore is the offensive coordinator now. Excuse me. I completely forgot Kellen Moore is the offensive coordinator of Philly. Doesn't change my prediction on Philly, but it damn sure makes me think now. I think Kellen Moore being in LA last year with the Chargers, having that offense completely implode on him when Justin Herbert went down, I think he has to be better as an offensive coordinator. Nick Sirianni's job is dependent on this, and this is the thing. You got Saquon Barkley, you got AJ Brown, you got Devontae Smith. They script Devontae Smith of his captain status. I don't know what the hell that's about, but it is what it is. Philly right now has, and I mean has, to be good this year. Because if not, then they are just in the same boat as the Giants and the Cowboys. in the same boat. I think they were going to be better. I don't think Philly's going to be bad this year, but it, but they got to get their shit right. But Philly is my forward team coming into the season, week one. Of course, last year I did my levels of warning for the NFL as well. If you don't remember, this is how I did it. Yellow was caution, um, orange was panic time, and red was DOA. So my yellow, caution, and that is the San Francisco 49ers. Now, this was before I wrote this yesterday night. This is before Trent Williams agreed to restrict his contract today. I don't give a shit. San Francisco still has problems. You think signing Brandon Ayuk and Trent Williams to deals is now gonna fix your problems? Fuck no. There's problems in San Francisco. Massive fucking problems in San Francisco. You're not gonna see them in week one or week two or week three. But boy, week seven, week eight, you're gonna be like, whoa, what the fuck is going on? You saved your ass with these two signings, but it doesn't change the fact that Kyle Shanahan, the clock is on. Your window is closing, even though people don't want to give it to it. Last year was probably your best chance to win a fucking Super Bowl. And even in that sense, your team still wasn't prepared to win a fucking Super Bowl. The 49ers have played the Jets week one, which is the worst situation for the fucking Jets right now. But at the end of the day, 49ers, Monday night, they're going to be okay. But that offense is a struggling goddamn offense. Okay, what anybody say. And that defense isn't great. So it just adds on to the bullshit and the problems. So yeah. Orange, panic time, and that is the Saints. Yep. The Saints are panic time for me. The reason why I got the Saints with this because I'm not stupid. I'm not stupid. I see the situation at hand. The Saints have to be decent. They have to be good this year. And if not, Spencer Rattler, I don't know if you're a starter, but you might be this year. This team is going to look for some key pieces. This is the year to figure out if Dennis Allen is actually a head coach or just a defensive coordinator. Derek Carr, we paid you all this money. Like I told my brother Juan last year, contracts are meant to be broken. We can find ways out this shit. The Saints this year, particularly this game, same thing with Florida State. You lose a game in division, it's a whole nother conversation. And the way that our offense is kind of set, this team is kind of set up. The first 7 games, first 6, 7 games of our season is fucking nuts. If you actually watch it, it's like you look at that, it's just fucking crazy. The offensive line is going to be the most interesting thing to see in week one. If that offensive line can hold up, Derek Carr has no problems with throwing a fucking football. So there should be no excuses. So we shall see. And DOA is the Steelers. Russell Wilson is the quarterback, the starting quarterback for the Steelers. Great. That offensive line is still shaky, so I understand why he's the starting quarterback. The thing about the Steelers, though, that's why I got to my DOA, is because I don't know what the Steelers are. Defensively, yeah. Defensively, yeah. Offensive line is going to be a massive conversation. You're going into Atlanta for the first game of the season, and that's going to be a very interesting situation to say the least. But this team in Pittsburgh has to 100% be prepared for this game, man. Last year, they were at home and they played the San Francisco 49ers and they got their ass handed to them. Now you on the road against Atlanta. Well, a lot of people are saying it's going to be good this year. I will hold judgment on that. But we shall see. And if you lose that game to Atlanta, here comes the conversations. Here comes the talk. Is Pittsburgh actually good? Is here comes the conversations. Here comes the talk. Here comes the chatter. So at the end of the day, Pittsburgh. I know it's week one, but at the end of the day, man, the clock is on for everyone. All right, that's I believe sports. Next week, I'll be back next Tuesday. Uh, talk about week two of the college football season, week one of the NFL season, week two of the NFL season, week three of the college football season. There's a fight coming up. Canelo Alvarez and um, Edgar Berlanga. They fight Saturday, September 14th. So I'll be talking about that fight. Um, yeah. Um, until next time, man. This is Brian Janu. This is I Believe Sports. Uh, Bleed Black and Gold Saints podcast will be after week one, the first game against the Carolina Panthers. That will be out. Until next time, man. Peace.